大家早上好，那我们欢迎回到 Intel 极限大师赛现场。那我们今天会有我们的星期二的
tournament. It is the fifth and final day of our StarCraft 2 tournament. Joining me is Moonglade and Apollo. We're going to wrap up things today with the semi-finals and the grand final of the StarCraft 2 tournament. As I said, it's the first one of the season after a brilliant World Championship, which seems almost a million miles away, Sean. It's like, you know, it's March, but it's like almost a completely different year already, a few months on.
Yeah, it's really funny because it was only a couple of months back, yet it feels like it was quite far away. But yeah, this season is going to be probably the best season Intel Extreme S has ever had with StarCraft 2. I think we can already say that from the quality of players that we've had at this event.
Yeah, definitely, Moonglade. It's been a terrific start to the season in terms of the player quality and the games and the matches that we've had. The 4 that we've got in the semi-final, I mean, they all deserve to be there, obviously, because they've won their matches. But do you think that when you looked at the tournament, you thought, yeah, these 4 could end up in the semi-final? Because Jim's a bit of a surprise, right?
Jim is definitely a surprise. I think he's the most surprising out of the 4. Jaedong has been to the finals before. He always can do well in these international tournaments, and TaeJa always ends up winning these international tournaments. So, yeah, every player, and I mean, Solar, Akes Berserk, always has the potential to do well. And yeah, I mean, they all deserve to be here.
They're a bit annoying, these Kesper players, aren't they? Because they don't come out of career very often because they're playing Pro League and GSL. And then when they do come out, like Hero did last year with CJ Entis, they come out and they dominate. They're just like on fire. I mean, you know, Hero turned up to Brazil, won. Turned up to Singapore, won. And then nearly went away with the $100,000 in the final as well, because they just seem to have this extra bit of quality, and Solar's displayed that as well.
Yeah, it's happened throughout all of StarCraft 2's career, is that there's very often a player that wins a championship who's never attended an event before, because all the events that everyone else has been to, that time he spent practicing every day for a very, 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 very long time, and that's the same with all the Kesper players. They just play 14, 16 hours a day, come up to a tournament and just shoot to the top.
It seems like a conveyor belt of talent for them. I mean, why haven't we got that in Europe? Why haven't we got that in North America?
Well, I guess we don't have the infrastructure. Like everywhere else in the world, Korea is just this one big city. Seoul, everyone is pretty much there, and everyone's just playing this tournament year and year and year. And they've just been there for years already, just training 16 hours a day, 12 hours a day, however long they play. And they finally get a chance to make the trip, and they finally get to show their talent outside.
We, as you can see, the map vote is underway between our first contenders for the grand final here. Jaedong still looking for his first Intel Extreme Masters. Likewise, amazingly, despite the fact that he's already won 10 international tournaments, TaeJa is also hunting his first ever Intel Extreme Masters Championship as well. These two head-to-head right now, 4-2 up, Jaedong, but all those 4 matches were won last year. TaeJa's won the last 2 this year, and that would suggest that the form element is much more with the Terran.
Yeah, Jaedong he actually had a very good Zerg versus Terran for a long time in his career, but then recently it started to slip up. If you think about WCS finals, he's played Pult multiple times, Bomber multiple times, he's always lost to them. And TaeJa falls into that bracket of awesome Terran players that have been able to beat Jaedong. But something tells me that as much as everyone's expecting TaeJa to beat him again today, I think we may see a different Jaedong today.
Yeah, what do you think? I mean, it's best of 5. They've only played 1 best of 5 between them, and TaeJa won that.
Yeah.
It was fairly recently as well. Back in June, they played twice. TaeJa won both of them.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen Jaedong's ZvT this tournament yet, and I think that says a lot about he's coming into this, and we don't know exactly for sure how well he's playing. And we saw TaeJa beat Life earlier in this tournament, which is a pretty big win. Life, very, very good at ZvT. So it's kind of hard to say. I think TaeJa definitely has the edge coming into this, especially 3-0ing Zest. That's kind of insane. He's obviously in a very good place right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, you picked up on 2 things. Beating Zest 3-0, beating Life earlier on as well. Both of those are renowned Code S players. One's a champion already. Life obviously last year as well. Does that answer the critics, do you think, of TaeJa? Because many people have said, you know, it's all very well winning 10 tournaments, and yeah, technically he's the most successful StarCraft 2 player of all time, but he's not an MVP, he's not a Flash, he's not a Jaedong, he's not even a Bomber. He doesn't fit with the, you know, sorry, Bomber. Bomber winning recently as well, it's confused me. But he doesn't fit with the rest of those great, legendary players, if you like. And yet his fans would say, no, he absolutely does believe that he does stick with these. But he's won 10 tournaments. You can't just win 10 international tournaments. And arguably, the foreign tournaments are harder to win in many ways. Not perhaps in terms of depth of quality, but more difficult because you've got to fly and you've got to go to different countries and play different styles of players and what have you. Do Do you think he's answered those critics by winning those 2 matches, or does he still need to do more? Does he need a GSL?
No, he doesn't. TaeJa is one of the best. He's definitely top 3 Terran in the world. There's no doubt, and anyone that does doubt that is obviously a little bit silly. TaeJa is one of the best. If he was to play in Pro League, if he was to play in GSL and in that region, I'm 100% certain he'd have a dominating winning record. He is one of the best. He can play all 3 races if need be. He's very talented. He's clever. He's smart. He's one of the best.
Yeah, we joked yesterday when we went out for a meal with him that was he tempted to play a bit of Protoss this year? Luckily, he said no. He was just staying with Terra and didn't want to go and play the other races.
He can play Grandmaster all 3 levels.
I was going to say he can play both of them. We said that. Turning our attention to Jaedong now. Last year he was a bit of a Kong. We knew that. In 5 matches in a row in the finals that he lost. Finally won one. James said yesterday, and rightly so, probably wasn't the one that he wanted to win of all the 6 that he got to the finals last year. Now he's got that monkey off his back. Does that clear his mind? Does he stop worrying about being runners-up so many times and just focus on winning tournaments now?
I personally think that Jaedong is never satisfied until he's the best of the best. Like, that's where he wants to be, and until that happens, until he's dominating like he used to in Brood War, he's never going to be satisfied.
Yeah, these 2 going head to head as well. It's it's such an amazing game.
What's TaeJa doing?
Okay, well, he looked like he was checking out the boards.
He's like, she's hot, right?
Yeah, I actually don't like the fact that I'm in a Zerg unit right now. I think that's what he said. These 2 going head to head. I don't want to build this up too much, but it is a legendary matchup. We've got Jaedong against TaeJa, who, the old master and the new master, if you like. This isn't, Protégé and Padawan. These are both legendary players going head to head. I wonder, just in years from now, whether we look back on matches like this with a real passion and just think, do you remember that time when Jaedong played TaeJa in a semi-final? I really want this to be a great game.
This is a budding rivalry. Yeah. They are 2 very consistent high-level players who always get deep in tournaments, and more recently, they keep meeting each other. They played at DreamHack just a couple of months back, and it was a very easy one-sided series win for TaeJa. But yeah, they keep meeting each other, and this is becoming a very popular series.
Indeed. TaeJa just getting yourself settled and ready. I have to put you on the line, both of you. It's time to make your choices. Is it the TaeJa Terran that wins this, or the Jaedong power of the Zerg that takes him through to the final?
I'm going to say my prediction is it's going to be TaeJa, and I think he's going to win 3-1.
Okay, that's bold.
TaeJa's most likely going to win. I would lean towards TaeJa. Jaedong has a chance, though. I'd say like 80-20. 70-30 maybe if I'd be a bit kinder. But
you do realise at this point that your good friend Jaedong will watch the VOD back afterwards and be like, Sean, not nice.
Yeah.
You picked TaeJa.
Yeah, it's kind of bad manner, man.
Yeah, that's like Rotterdam going against Jim in the next game.
I got to put friendships aside, guys.
That's professional.
I just want to be right.
Okay, I think we're pretty much ready for the game. So, our first semi-final of the day is Jaedong versus TaeJa. Here's hoping it's going to be absolutely tremendous. Your commentary for this one comes from Kalaris and QXC.
All right, thanks very much, guys. Welcome to the caster's desk for our first semi-final of the day. And it's a good one, Jaedong versus TaeJa. And I'm with QXC. How are you doing, man?
Good, man. Getting ready for what is going to be one of the best Terran versus Zerg matches we will see forever.
There's not many of them. No, okay. There's a few, but you're right. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. The way TaeJa actually dealt with Zest yesterday was a bit surprising to me. I was expecting that to go a bit further than it did. Yeah. But now here into the semi-final, I think, Jaedong can put a bit more of a fight up.
Yeah, I think Jaedong, as a more experienced international tournament player, is definitely going to be in a better mental place than we saw Zest in just the other day. And TaeJa, of course, being TaeJa, expect to see great play from him as well. And I don't know, man. I don't know what we're gonna see here. Do you have the maps? Do we have the maps? We're in the lobby for this first map.
No, I don't think we actually do have the maps.
Okay, so the first map is on Sejong Station.
Oh, okay.
In our best of 5. And let's talk a little bit about Sejong. So, one of the biggest things about Sejong in Terran vs. Zerg is that there are 2 entrances to your natural. There are destructible rocks, and that opens up a lot of opportunities for some specific timings, usually like 1-1 speed Roach Hydralisk. Timings like that can be particularly effective on that map.
Yeah. And also, I mean, you see players like Snoop, for example, in the matchup, also opening up the rock so that they can take like a 4th down there as well if they want to be equally like aggressive down that path as well if they want, which is nice to see. I'm really looking forward to this. These two guys, Jaedong on screen right now, an absolute legend of StarCraft, is here, and he goes up against a guy that has just looked absolutely unbeatable as of late. So these two titans butting heads is something that you really don't expect too often in the earlier stages of a tournament. Semifinals, yeah, it's quite deep down, but this could have happily been the final, to be honest.
For sure. And that's just the luck of the bracket here. TaeJa looks focused. He's ready.
All right.
And we're in the game on Sejong Station.
Let's get into it then. Spawning up to the top left-hand corner, we have our red Zerg. Representing Evil Geniuses, it is Jaedong. Fearsome foe.
He's ready.
He is, man. And down at the bottom right-hand corner, our blue Terran. Representing Team Liquid in colors true, it is TaeJa.
Colors true? Is that a British phrase?
It's near enough, man. He's blue. He's spawned in blue.
Near enough. Is that a British phrase?
Yeah, near enough. It's all right. Fair play, man.
Fair play? Is that also a British phrase?
This is going to turn into a me and Todd thing where I'm just teaching a lot of random English phrases.
Wait, you call yourselves English?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Now you're going. Now you're just trolling me. All right.
So far, everything's looking pretty normal. TaeJa going for a supply depot at the top of his ramp. He's going to be building his barracks. 12 barracks here rather than an 11 barracks. We'll probably see him build the gas geyser very shortly after. And the 12 barracks is just, it's basically the most middle-of-the-road build right now in this matchup. You make between 1 and 3 Reapers. Usually with the 12 barracks, you're not making 3. Often, if a player chooses to make 3 Reapers, they make that barracks on 11. Basically, the way that works is if you go barracks on 11 and you make 3 Reapers, your Hellions aren't too late.
Yeah.
But if you get that slightly later barracks, you go 3 Reapers, you're vulnerable to some Speedling flood timings.
Yeah. And Jaedong's known to do pretty much anything whenever he wants to, which is always nice to see, being able to deviate things very nicely is always good. One thing about Jaedong that's always nice here is that Jaedong can get over there with his Overlord quickly and spot what's going on at the natural very fast.
Yeah, there's not a lot of early pressure that the Terran player, or the Zerg player has to worry about on this map, besides some kind of proxy barracks, proxy Reaper.
Yeah.
Because of the way the layout is, so the Overlords, like you said, are in the center of the map, and it makes it very hard for the Terran player to actually get, let's say, SCVs to the Zerg player's base, or get those SCVs across the map to build those proxy barracks just in time. And so I don't think I've ever seen a 2-Rax on this map. Because of the multiple entrances and the multiple cliffs, sometimes we do see proxy barracks, either 8 barracks or 12 barracks, but TaeJa is actually playing extremely safe with the SCV Scout here. Most players will opt to not SCV Scout, and this is, for anybody who watched WCS America a couple of weeks ago, this may be partly in response to players going pool first. We saw that in Hyun versus Pult. He would make about 6 Zerglings and just send them across the map, dodge the Reaper, and force a cancel in the command center. TaeJa with this SCV Scout is totally immune to that.
Yeah, I've seen quite a bit of that. We've seen it in Europe as well, and it's a really nice little tactic to use with those Zerglings and try and do something with them. But for now, Reaper's going to jump on up, have a little bit of a look around. These Zerglings will buy time eventually for the Queen to come out. And Jaedong being Jaedong, he shouldn't be really losing any of these links to this initial pressure.
Yeah, it's all about here, just whatever starts taking damage, he's going to pull back, and that way he can keep the majority of his forces alive. These Zerglings are extremely important to keep alive. Ooh, TaeJa taking a little bit too much damage there. He's going to back out with the Reaper. And with just this 1 Reaper, goes for the fast reactor. What we're probably going to see is some kind of 2-base build. When you make these early Marines, you tend to not quite have as much money to go for a fast 3rd command center. And you also don't quite have as much pressure with that early Reaper. And so you feel, normally with the fast 3CC, you have 2 Reapers, you get the Hellions, you're able to do enough pressure even though you're going for that economic style. When you make this 1 Reaper, you're not really able to do much damage to the Queens. He's not really going to be able to deny this first creep tumor, something that we've seen players like Innovation do. And so usually you'll see a transition into some sort of 2-base play, but TaeJa is not doing that. 3rd command center just go down in the main.
It's a really good point that you make. It's kind of more of a middle-of-the-road thing in the end. I mean, when those Hellions come out, if they really want to poke at the front, the Reapers, the numbers of Reapers that you really want to tank for the Hellions whilst they poke, it really isn't there with just 1. So it's a really, really good point. And for now, Jaedong is just going to try and grab himself that 3rd base.
So TaeJa did see those Lings in his vision, and actually, I think the Reaper has slightly higher vision than the Ling. So the Reaper was able to see the Zerglings, but the Zerglings were not able to see the Reaper. This Reaper is very precariously placed right now. Funka, let's look at that. Look at Zerg's vision right now. That Reaper is just, the Lings went right by it, and I think JDong did now spot it. TaeJa's going to go in and check for that third hatchery, and now TaeJa knows that this isn't some kind of very fast 2-base layer build. He can play a little more optimized for the later parts of the game.
JDong throw down Roach Warren. I mean, this probably is normally for a cautionary measure against these Hellions, but can eventually also lead into pressure if he really wants to. Do you think it's just for the defense here, though?
It'll depend how many roaches he makes and if he's making a Baneling nest.
Yeah.
Right now, the big tell is that he's got over 200 gas, and he's mining from 2 gas geysers. So this looks like it's not going to be some sort of defensive roach. This is going to be a little bit more aggressive. And we may actually see... No, layer.
All right.
That's a little unusual here. He's going to make 8 roaches and then go for a layer. And it looks like he's going to stay on 2 gases and just saturate his third for minerals. So perhaps we're going to see upgrades come out for JDong, or maybe you were right. Maybe this is just defensive roaches.
Yeah, they're on the way with those double evolution chambers going down as well. The Lings actually snuck past during all of this as well and find a little room to poke around at the front. So if anything, they put the fear of God in TaeJa, and now those 2 extra Hellions are hanging back and not being able to move out too far. So TaeJa really didn't commit too much with his little poke out, and is happy to just retreat on back.
Yeah, the TaeJa's opening here is more designed to just control the map, be safe, get information about what your opponent's doing. It's not really, he's not trying to do any damage. His upgrades are earlier than the Zerg players. Third Command Center was very early. If we take a look at the income tab, he's down about 13 workers, but that's normal. If you take into account the mules, the income is just about where TaeJa wants it to be. And now the Hellions are going to move back out on the map. He's going to try and do just a little bit of poking, a little bit of aggression. He needs to confirm now. He's seen the roaches, but he needs to confirm, is this going to be Roach Hydra, or is this just early roaches, and then he's going into, JDong is going into mutas and lings and banelings from there.
Yeah, you're right. That's very important. I mean, we saw Soli yesterday kind of really varying it up against Innovation and eventually really catching him off guard with that Roach Hydra composition that absolutely annihilated him.
And that's one of the main threats. There's kind of like up to about 14 minutes. There's a lot of flexibility from both players in terms of, is the Terran going to go Bio? Is the Terran going to go Mech? Is the Zerg going Mutas? Is the Zerg going Roach Hydra? And a big part of this matchup is just figuring out, what is my opponent actually doing? Right now we see TaeJa continuously moving around with his units, and JDong using his roaches to deflect these Hellions.
Nice.
This is really good for JDong right now because he has used the same 8 roaches the entire time he's been denying TaeJa information. And what that means is TaeJa has a really bad read on what JDong is actually doing. With this scan revealing that nothing is researching out of the Roach Warren, and the roaches don't currently have speed, he can basically say, okay, this is mutas.
Yeah, you're right. That's a very good tell indeed. JDong now is going to be setting himself up with a few Banelings, knowing that there is a bit of pressure coming along, seeing it with that Overlord, so making sure he's going to be stable against that. There is no centrifugal hooks on the way just yet, though, so he does have to be careful. He has to fight on creep. That's very important when it comes to dealing with this bio.
Yep, 7 Mutalisks are coming out now, and TaeJa's armory is a little bit late here. It's not quite getting the upgrades on time.
Ooh, he actually abandons that bio for a second there. Picks up in the end, but they did get nibbled at a little bit. And now here come the Hellbats as well. There's only 2, though, because, again, the Roaches did quite a good job of cleaning up a few of those Hellions before. So a little knock-on effect to make this a little less powerful for TaeJa.
And TaeJa now just jockeying for position on the map. He's not actually trying to force a battle here. He's trying to deny creep and keep, more importantly than just killing creep, is keeping the creep away from those potential 4th bases for JDong. JDong knows this. He's actually taken a 4th base on the left side of the map, and that puts him in quite a good position to transition into the later parts of the game.
All right, so now TaeJa's going to look for extra openings. This Overlord does see that these 2 medevacs are going to fly towards the southern direction, so probably just rendezvousing with this army and looking to push elsewhere. Does TaeJa actually know about that 4th base over to the left?
TaeJa does not know about that 4th base right now, and that's going to be extremely important because of the creep spread right now, even with the destructible rocks not quite dead at Jaedong's natural, if we, it's very hard for Jaedong to actually put his army there to defend. But
Exactly.
TaeJa now pushing on a creep a little bit, continuing to deny, and this is a situation where if TaeJa underestimates his opponent a little bit or overestimates his own ability, he may not scout that left side base for a very long time.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where you're like, oh, I'm so good, I've been denying creep. Jaedong can't take a fourth. Man, he's like patting himself on the back. And Jaedong's like, well, I mean, I have the fourth.
Uh-oh.
It's done.
Yeah.
But,
and it's exactly what I said before, you know, Snoop likes to do this in WCS Europe as well. It's or in the qualification processes, take that base down there. Terrans aren't necessarily focusing on that location as much as other locations, up to the top right, for example. And now, you know, TaeJa moving out with this army. Jaedong equally has a very strong army himself with his 2-2, keeping pace with the Terrans 2-2. So TaeJa's window is quite small to hit.
TaeJa really doesn't have... He doesn't want to force a fight here unless it's absolutely in the best possible position. He's been getting supply blocked a couple of times. He was stuck at 145, stuck at 153 for just a little bit, and then he got stuck at 177 for, again, just a short amount of time. And what that means is Jaedong's up about 20 supply. And that's supply that's already at the fight, basically. And you can see Jaedong is looking for a battle. As soon as Centrifugal Hooks finishes, he's going to try and make something happen.
And that's a lot of Banelings. He's going to try and come in from both sides here with this. How well are the Widowmines going to connect is a big, big deal here. They actually get a lot of Lings at the back, a bit of Baneling connection up at the top right as well here. But at the same time, TaeJa is indeed being pushed back. The Mutalisk as well as Zerglings and Banelings going to crash on through, but the Rocks able to stop the pursuit. That was a fantastic move by TaeJa.
Very well played by TaeJa. That was exactly what he needed to disengage from this battle. There was no way he was going to win that fight straight on, and at the same time he didn't have enough medevacs to actually pick up and disengage without losing a huge amount of stuff. Those destructible rocks gave him the tactical opportunity that he needed.
That's really cool to see. People using that. We've seen it a few times now in this tournament, and it's so awesome.
Snoot actually did it against Jaedong in their series yesterday, and now it looks like I think TaeJa knows. I don't know when he scouted this fourth base on the left, but he knows what his target is now. He's sieging up on the creep, and he's going to start getting rid of those creep tumors. Basically what he needs to do here is get enough creep down that he can frog his units and be able to siege that base, but in the natural, Jaedong doing a little bit more damage with his Mutalisk.
Widowmine still set up here. Don't really do a whole lot just yet, but you're right. I mean, this is, as TaeJa slowly moves forward, there isn't actually a huge amount of creep defending that location. So TaeJa can slowly just attack.
TaeJa's very bunched up right now. His Marines need to get spread out just a little bit more, and the Widowmines are actually very clumped as well. I think TaeJa's a little bit distracted by this Mutalisk harass. In his natural, he's going to repair the turret. Some Marines at home will deflect this, no problem. And now it's up to TaeJa to make something happen. His units are very bunched up right now.
All right, a lot of Zerglings and Banelings once again coming along. It doesn't look like his whole force, though, as a lot of the Banelings don't really do massive amounts. There's still a lot of Marines left over there. And there's the main force of Jaedong still leering on the edge, waiting for this army to pounce.
And one of the things that's making the siege so effective for TaeJa right now is it's very hard for Jaedong to actually get a flank. If he wants to go around the back, he's got to destroy the destructible rocks above his fort, and if he wants to go around the other way, it's a very long rush distance, but it looks like Jaedong's coming in now.
All right, once again, trying to connect with these Banelings. How well are they going to do? The Marines trying to split back. There were a few Lings that actually trickled through, trying to pin some of this in, but at the same time, there might not be enough here to be able to deal with this. He's got to micro back. There's still a lot of Widowmines here, though, to help on out. Microing with these Marines as best as possible, and good focus fire there on the last remaining Banelings at the front.
And the position kind of stabilizes here. It's a little bit favored for Jaedong, though. The supply is favoring Jaedong. He's still got a good number of Banelings, but TaeJa is not done with this siege. Because there's not very much creep spread here, he's going to be able to push back up and force another engagement off of creep, which should be favorable to him. In just 15 seconds, plus 3 weapons is going to finish, and that's going to make a huge difference for TaeJa's army efficiency.
Yeah, and every single time he takes an engagement, he falls back towards his expansion. So even if Jaedong was doing anything towards harassing that as well, he's always defending that with this aggression. So really good use of positioning here by TaeJa. But the Mutalisks on the offensive. That army is barreling down in his fourth base. He needs to do something about it.
Yeah, there is no way that Jaedong is going to be able to hold this. He's down so much supply. TaeJa actually not splitting. Takes huge damage from the Banelings, and that's because of Jaedong's Mutalisk distracting TaeJa. His army should have been so much more efficient there, but he was just not looking.
Whoa, I was not expecting that. Normally, you're just expecting TaeJa to go for the splits, but there was absolute static positioning there. TaeJa losing a lot to that, but he's still up quite a lot. His macro has still been flying. His fourth base during all of this wasn't really shut down. He lost a little bit of the mining at the third base, but still powering on 11 Marines at a time. This fourth base under siege once again. Gonna fall very, very quickly. It does. Oh my god. He actually is gonna leave that for a second.
With 16 health, but he'll be able to come back in and finish that without much trouble. And Jaedong, GG's. TaeJa takes game number 1. And yeah, it really came down to the creep spread there. Basically what that meant is that in order to defend that fourth base, Jaedong had to force fights off of creep.
Yeah.
And he was not, he wasn't using his army, I'm trying to put this, I'm not exactly sure how to phrase it, but he wasn't setting up the flanks that he needed. So it's like if Zerg is coming at Terran off of creep, it should generally be an advantage for the Terran player. They're pre-split, they're pre-spread, and the Zerg units are just that much slower. The Lings take longer to get in range to deal damage to the Marines. It's harder to manipulate the Widowmine fire because your ground units are slower, and the Banelings can't get close enough as easily. And so in order to compensate when you're taking fights off of creep with even supplies like that, generally the Zerg player needs to set up those flanks. And without the foresight of destroying the destructible rocks either above his fourth or sending part of his army around the other side, all the way around. Yeah, it's a big way to go.
Yeah.
Jaedong just was not able to get those flanks that he needed. And with TaeJa's fourth base being so early, so well timed, the economies were just not in his favor. If Jaedong really wanted to fight 4 bases versus 4 bases, he needed to get a fifth somewhere on that map.
That was a cool game. That was a cool game. A lot of intricacies there, but let's get into game number 2 now as we have spawned down to the bottom left-hand corner. Currently 1 game down in this best of 5 series. It is EG's Jaedong. And up to the top left, our blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It's TaeJa. That was a really good game by him. I mean, aside from losing at the front there with those to those Banelings, he still just had mass amounts of macro. So.
Yeah, he did.
Jeez.
He did a good job of I think what happened is there was an intention to have a fight at some point, and then he recognized that he was failing mechanically with those supply blocks, and he realized that now is not the right time to take a fight. He stayed very far off of creep, just kept checking in on those potential fourth bases, keeping control of the center of the map, and then once he was actually maxed, he was like, all right, mistakes aside, now it's my time. Now I can make something happen.
And how is Jaedong going to recover? That's the big question. Because right now, we're going to have a command center first by the looks of things from TaeJa.
Yeah, I think CC first is the best build on this map. There's very few builds that can deal with it.
No.
At the top of your ramp, you can wall in with just a supply depot and a barracks. That means your command center can be on location, which makes it just that much more efficient. And you're still safe against basically any type of early pool, with the exception of something that might have Banelings in it. But those are usually a little easier to scout, and there's some other precautions you could take. Anyway, Jaedong going for that hatch first. The drone is now... Well, the Overlord sees the supply depot. For Jaedong, this actually, once he sees the barracks, he'll know it's CC first. Boom, it's CC first.
Yeah.
Until you see the barracks, though, there is a kind of a little bit of doubt in your mind. It's like, well, could this be proxy? Proxy barracks? Proxy Reaper? And yeah, he actually checked the watchtower.
I was going to say, during all of this, was he... Because I thought he was going to go triple hatch, and he is doing now.
Yep.
Is this why he sent that drone out so early?
Yeah, I think basically if it was anything except for CC first, he wouldn't have gone triple hatch.
Yeah.
Perhaps. That Reaper is able to do so much damage against a 3-hatch before pool, and as a Terran player, you kind of have license. So normally you'd stop at 3 Reapers because that's about when you need to start going Hellions to deal with potential speedling timings, things like that.
Oh,
SCV dies.
Nice.
No, that's embarrassing a little bit. It's a little problematic. I mean, it happens. It's happened to everyone. Every Terran player has lost SCVs in important tournaments for no particular reason. But it doesn't make a tremendous difference. This is... This is a strange build. Sorry, I'm kind of speechless, trying to understand exactly what TaeJa's doing. So basically what he did is he adds a third command center at the expense of his second orbital.
Okay. Is he accounting for the fact that his opponent saw this very early and has probably gone very greedy himself on the other side of the map? Or is that too much to read into?
I'm not sure. I'm unfortunately was thinking about TaeJa's build more than I was watching the SCV scout.
Okay.
And so I'm not sure where it lined up in terms of like, did he see the third hatch and then build the third CC, or was he just committed? I think he was just, this was just the build he was going to do on this map. And the reason for that is because if he was waiting to see that third hatchery, he would have scouted earlier, and the time at which you take your gas is very early as well. So anyway, right now he's going to go into a very strong economy. We're going to see an incredible macro game from both of these players right now, with 3 hatch before pool versus CC first, third command center before gas, right? Like they're
very powerful economies.
It's not going to be any more macro than you could ever want. Meanwhile, I think TaeJa has a distinct advantage in that he knows that he's against 3 hatch. Jaedong does not know that he's against 3CC.
Yeah, he's going to have to try and poke in eventually with Overlords, and he's already going for the first one. But
here, this Overlord's going to see it.
Yeah.
Even just seeing this factory, now he sees the third command center, he knows exactly what he's dealing with. The Overlord's just going to run out, because there's nothing else that he could see that would be any use to him, basically.
No, not at all.
If he can keep that Overlord alive, that's great. That allows him to be just a little faster in terms of getting his economy going. And meanwhile, TaeJa is playing mostly in the dark. He's got nothing on the map at this point, and he's actually going to go for a fast siege tank. This is something that we saw Bomber do against Violet at Red Bull Atlanta. Basically, very, very fast third command center, 1 siege tank, maybe 2, just to be safe, fast E-bays, and then you just macro your heart out.
Yeah, I think to solidify yourself on this position is good, especially since Jaedong has all the information available to him that he needs, so is probably the one in the driving seat at the other side. So if something was coming along, if some aggression was coming, it's probably from Jaedong's side than anything else, because TaeJa right now just doesn't have the means by which to do it. Yeah,
Jaedong, again, the information disparity has swung in Jaedong's favor.
Yeah.
Now he knows what he's dealing with. He knows how greedy he can be. TaeJa, on the other hand, TaeJa just scans. Okay, so this gives him some good information here. He knows that this hatchery is not a lair, but he does not know that the other hatcheries are also not layers. And, actually...
It started as it finished.
He started it as the scan finished. So depending on how closely TaeJa was paying attention, he may have seen that the layer started, but at the same time... How much can you really read into that? Maybe Jaedong's going to start it and cancel it, whatever. Either way, he sees double E-bays, and he sees fully saturated drones, and he didn't see a big flood of units.
Yep.
Generally, when your opponent's going for big timing attacks, almost any scan you put down, there's some units coming out.
And as we get this going, just very, very slow pace at the beginning. Very, very just macro focus. Baneling nests are being added on here. A few Lings sprinkled into the mix now to get just a little bit of defense, just in case a small bio push comes along through the middle of the map. Very important to keep an eye on things like that.
And those Lings will also be useful in just doing a little bit of pressure. Maybe when TaeJa moves out with these Hellions, he'll try and poke in at the third, something like that. Right now, though, TaeJa with a distinct upgrade advantage. He's about over a minute. Oh, wait, no. That's not a minute. Is that a minute?
It's quite a lot.
No, it's about 80 seconds or so ahead in upgrades. And that's going to give him some really good opportunities for a 2-2 timing.
It's a super, super greedy build that he actually got away with here. So Jaedong has to be careful. Really, really careful with this. Of course, his build was greedy as well.
Yeah, I mean, so you say, wow, TaeJa is so greedy, but Jaedong went up to 78 drones on 10 Zerglings, right? Like, they were both cutting as many corners as possible, just getting their economy as strong as possible. And now Jaedong taking that fourth hatchery at about 10 minutes. I feel like he could have taken it a bit earlier with the way that he opened, but he did decide to make a lot of Zerglings here. And these Zerglings will potentially have some great opportunities to stifle the Hellions' ability to do things.
And unless the Hellions actually go to a lot of work in the middle of the map, the creeper right now is exploding, absolutely going crazy, and Jaedong is pushing towards that third base rapidly of TaeJa. So unless he does something about this, it's going to go unchecked. That can be scary for a Terran here.
Yeah, but it's kind of, and a big drop in the natural. He's going to unload. Stim is not quite done yet. And so TaeJa's, Stim just finished now. Jaedong's now bringing a lot of units in here to defend, and TaeJa's going to have to pick up and head out.
The foresight of the static defense obviously is a necessity because of the spawning positions, which is always important there for Jaedong. But still, that was not denial of creep. Now he goes to work on that. Very, very important. Get those active creep tumors. Make sure that he has to spend extra time spreading that with the queens, but didn't get it on the low ground, so going to have to clean that up eventually.
And I think TaeJa's kind of focus in this game is going to be just south of the watchtower in the center of the map. That's where he's got to get rid of the creep in order to actually make a push on something that Jaedong cares about. Another possibility would be dropping in Jaedong's natural, but that's it's a little bit of a strange play. It's be very specific to this map, and you can see Jaedong immediately reseeds the creep, trying to push it out, trying to maintain control. Now TaeJa moving in onto creep, clearing it out once more.
And we're hitting, you know, the 12-30 minute mark at this point, and this is a very strong army out of TaeJa because of the way everything that lined up at the very beginning. 98 army supply against 80. Banelings, more Banelings morphing in to try and deal with this as Jaedong is just buying time for now. He doesn't hugely mind that the first wave of creep is gone as long as their bases are alive to the bottom and he's maxing out. And then with this now, 2-2 is just about to finish. So as you said before, that 2-2 timing could be coming up here.
Yeah, and TaeJa is actually going all the way around here. He's not going to try and remove the creep and push down the center. He's actually going to take this kind of ulterior entrance into the base. Jaedong rolling some Banelings in. Yeah, that was not what you wanted for that many Banelings.
Oh, they're connected with a Marauder, maybe a Widowmine, that's about it. That's a lot of Lings floating forward. Those 2 Widowmines at the back really don't do a huge amount against that. As the Lings try and go for the wraparound with the Banelings, he has to pick up everything and get out of here. That would have been disastrous, but at the same time, big drop, or a little bit of a drop, into that natural static defense, helping out quite nicely. And the Mutalisks are actually going to town. Oh, wow, Jaedong cleaned that up brilliantly.
Yeah, Jaedong with an incredible advantage at this point in the game. And basically what happened there is TaeJa tried to take a fight at a location where he did not have a very strong supply line. And when I say supply line, I mean his reinforcement path was so far across the map, and he was not actively reinforcing that position. And so when the fight actually happened, his supply was so much lower than Jaedong's because Jaedong had basically funneled everything he had to that battle. He's like, well, you've got enough supply here, and I've got enough static defense in the most likely place that you would drop me, so I'm just going to bring it all down. I'm going to barrel down on you. I'm going to take this fight.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's so difficult to actually get all the way over there, and now Jaedong is going to be able to capitalize on that. He is maxed out. He can take the fight now to TaeJa. This is never what a Terran wants at this point. 3-3 is on the way.
Look at all these Banelings morphing.
That's a lot of Banelings. He has to be very, very careful. He cannot stray out too far. That was a nice Widowmine kit, though, getting a lot of the Banelings on the pushback. There's only one siege tank there to try and hold on each cornered. He is pinned back into this expansion. This is going to be bad. He's losing so much. And even if all of these Banelings are gone against this army, there's still way more coming along with the Mutalisks as well. TaeJa has absolutely been ripped apart here in game number 2.
Yeah, more Banelings rolling in here. Jaedong is going to be reinforcing this fight. He's actually just going to blow up the command center. TaeJa is losing a lot of production here. The barracks are going down. More Marines try to stream out. And looks like, what are those Banelings doing?
Do what they can.
I don't know about that.
Doesn't really matter at the moment.
Yeah. Basically, TaeJa was able to get that pressure off of him with these 2 medevacs, but right now he's down so much supply. These last 2 fights were so inefficient for TaeJa, and Jaedong has an incredible economy. Usually when it gets to this point in the game, the Zerg player, if they have a 4th base, they have, let's say, 6 drones on minerals and 6 on gas, and the 4th base comes up a little bit later. Jaedong took a pretty early 4th base, and he went directly up to about 80 or 90 drones. He has a little bit less now. He's been building some buildings with them, but he's just got such a strong economy. And TaeJa actually defending for now.
Yeah.
He's the 4th command center went and his main command center actually landed at his 3rd, and he's now trying to move the new command center to his 4th, trying to get that 4th base up. But if we look back to Sejong Station, TaeJa's 4th base is minutes behind Jaedong's in this game. On Sejong, it was very closely timed out.
This is where Jaedong has all the options in the world. He can do whatever he wants at this point. I mean, just establish an entire colony down to the bottom right-hand corner if he wants. He can be aggressive with his Mutalisk, really pinging his opponent back. And in the middle, he's just gathering up Banelings and Banelings and Banelings, and then eventually he'll try and crash on through. TaeJa has got a mountain to climb, and it's going to be a difficult one.
Yeah, TaeJa basically has to avoid a fight for as long as possible.
Yeah.
He needs to remax, and the remax is basically the one saving grace you have when you start to get behind. And the Mutas actually, Jaedong is losing a lot of Mutalisk here. Whoa! A little bit of a blunder there. I think he saw the small group of Marines. He wanted to take that fight. He looked away for a moment, and the Banelings are rolling into the third base. How many SCVs can Jaedong get here?
He's going to have to be careful. He needs to retreat as quickly as possible, but he doesn't actually keep going. Banelings actually turn for the fight. He gets a few, though, in the end. So anything he does really with the damage is great. More Zerglings on the way that can easily morph him very quickly.
And 34 workers killed for Jaedong. He's looking at a very sizable economic advantage now. 38 SCVs to 80 drones. Meanwhile, TaeJa, though, does have his fourth base, and the kind of peculiar thing from Jaedong is he's never even attempted to make a fifth hatchery of this game. Oh, big fight in the middle here. This could be the end of this game.
All right, those Widowmines don't really do enough damage to the Banelings that they need to. Actually, a lot of Banelings hitting that floor at the front, but there's so many Zerglings and Banelings left over to try and push away the remaining Marines. There's really very little they can do. Good splits overall by TaeJa, really making the best of it, but Jaedong just has overwhelming numbers on this left-hand side.
Yeah, and it looks like TaeJa is holding his fourth for now. That Planetary Fortress plus those turrets, enough to deflect this. And the interesting thing right now, the supplies are so different, but the army supplies are almost the same. TaeJa actually has...
Wait a minute.
He has stabilized in some regard. Jaedong is making more Banelings. He's going to try and follow up that attack with another attack here, aggressively spreading creep into the center of the map. But Jaedong just refuses to take a fifth base in this game.
Yeah, exactly. As Funka was pointing out just before, it's... with the Ultralisk Cavern down, like, how do you actually efficiently transition onto that without that fifth base? He doesn't have that much money. It's going to be on these Banelings and Zerglings to really do something, but if TaeJa keeps taking, like, impressive trades in the middle, if he splits perfectly against this, there is still a hope for the Terran.
Yeah, the issue right now for Jaedong is that the economic pressure is really on him, and it's not on him to make a fight happen. TaeJa doesn't need to move out because they're on the same number of bases, but it looks like Jaedong's coming in now.
All right, those Widowmines actually don't connect with any Banelings during that initial wave. There's a few more at the back here. Banelings just absolutely ravaging the front lines of that bio with a little bit split back on the left-hand side. He doesn't even care about the Marines anymore. He's going for kills on the SCVs, trying to find something. They have to flee out of there. Planetary Fortress do some work. Oh, he picks up and gets them out of there. And the supplies are actually really, really close at this point.
Which means a potentially disaster for Jaedong. Let's see what he's remaxing on. 5 Ultralisk.
Okay.
He's got Chitness coming up. Chitness?
Chitinous.
Chitinous. There we go. That's what that's called. +3 melee, and I believe +3 carapace has already been done for quite a while here for Jaedong. And a little bit of a run by going into TaeJa's third.
He has to do these things. I mean, at this point, he does not want TaeJa to get back into this game because he was looking as if, you know, there was a little bit of a glimmer of hope, but now the big guns of Jaedong are being brought to the table with those Ultralisks, 9 of them in production.
Yeah, and this is going to be very tough for TaeJa. The hardest part for TaeJa at this point is, well, basically so he has enough tech labs. He's got 4 tech labs, but in terms of Marauders, he's got 4 Marauders. Jaedong is making 10 Ultralisks.
Oh, and he found this drop on the right-hand side as well.
But there's so few mutas. TaeJa can just unload. He'll be able to stabilize, and as soon as Jaedong loses vision of that drop, he can pick up and try and drop again somewhere else. The problem when your Mutalisk count gets so low is that double drop is very hard to deal with.
Yeah. Army supply is still pretty close, but again, it's a lot of power behind Jaedong's army at this point. This base down to the bottom right-hand corner, no gas mining just yet. Has a little bit of gas there, but he's still mining away at the other bases, and those Mutalisks coming back for this drop. It's like, did you pick up just yet? No, I'm still there. Okay, I'll go somewhere else for now.
Yeah, and the battle, this game is really starting to become about that 5th base. If TaeJa can deny that 5th base and make the game stay 4 bases for 4 bases for a bit longer, or take a 5th base of his own, he's really got a chance to come back into it. Jaedong now just needs to keep his 5th base alive and keep denying TaeJa's 5th base himself.
I think once these Banelings morph in, he has to take a fight. I mean, those Banelings, the 21 that he just got with those Ultralisks as well, are going to pack so much punch before the Marauder count really gets going.
Well, as long as TaeJa doesn't know that he's going Ultralist, Jaedong is actually kind of okay.
Oh, he did see them, though. He saw the Ultras.
He did see them.
That's why we got so many Marauders in production now.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right, Kalaris. So 4 more Marauders. It's kind of, as you said, Jaedong, he's got a good opportunity now before the Marauder count gets too high. Jaedong is maxed. TaeJa, not quite maxed yet. And Jaedong really should not wait until TaeJa is maxed. With only 42 SCVs, TaeJa will have an incredibly high army supply.
All right, he's actually going to take the fight. Uh-oh, he's got positioning all the Marauders at the front. One of the Ultralists is going to go down very, very fast. If the splits are good here, TaeJa might be able to keep his hopes alive, but it's going to be very difficult as the Ultralists now close into this. There is the drop down in the bottom right-hand corner as well, but one Ultralist actually cleans up all of that. So really good by Jaedong, and now this is looking hard for TaeJa.
Yeah, TaeJa's again in this desperate position where he's down a base, but he's not quite out of it yet. He's still got a lot of money on his 4th base. Well, actually, his main base has a lot of money too, but there's no command center there. TaeJa just trying to get into the center of the map, denying some creep. And it looks like Jaedong maybe trying to look for a fight here.
It's so funny how that drop hit orchestrated down to the south. Wait, hold the phone there as the Lings and the Ultralists once again going to flood in. This is the remaining bio force that is really here to hold on against that much meat, that much power behind these Ultralists. I don't think they have much hope left. They were trying valiantly. TaeJa was trying valiantly to hold on in this game, but the power of the Swarm has overwhelmed at this point, and Jaedong, despite having the later bases, has been able to do this pretty well.
Yep, that 5th base, even though the game looked like it could swing back in TaeJa's favor until that 5th base got up and running, but that extra money has allowed Jaedong to make the army he needs to punch through at TaeJa's natural. The Ultralisk, one Ultralisk is leading, and the other ones are in line behind him. They are going to try and push in, but TaeJa is going to do some kiting here, trying to do whatever damage he can.
Yeah, he's holding on as best he can, but there's really not a whole lot left for him here. 6 more Ultralists in production as well. TaeJa battling to the very last man and kills off a few more Ultralists with good control, but Jaedong's so far up now.
Jaedong is just... So, look at... Yeah, Funka knows what I was about to say. Units lost tab, man.
Yeah.
Even though Jaedong has had an incredible economy lead, he just does not seem to be able to take fights in a cost-efficient way. He's always so inefficient with the way he's making these fights. Even though he's up almost 100 supply right now, it almost feels like TaeJa's going to hold, but he's not. He's not. Let's be real.
Not when the next wave comes.
Yeah, this next wave is going to kill him. Yeah. It's coming in fast. Jaedong knows it. I think TaeJa knows it. He's going to float another command center out, trying to get another base. And this command center is left completely unguarded.
He's like, I just killed all your Ultralists. How did this many more appear? He could easily rip down this planetary fortress. SCVs at the back lines as well. This bio can try and kite for quite a while, as there's only Ultralisks to actually hold that off. But it's all right.
The Mutalisks and Speedlings are coming in here, going to try and limit the ability of this Bioforce to get damage done without taking damage. Yeah. And it looks like actually 2 more Ultralisks left. TaeJa's done a great job of kiting out, focus firing those Ultralisks, and that one last Ultralisk is all that Jaedong has in this current force. But TaeJa down to just 50 supply now, dropping almost below 40 supply.
He refused to die for basically 15 minutes. He has refused to die. Jaedong is just like, what do I have to do to kill this guy? And eventually he will. Eventually he will at this point. But TaeJa, man.
What is
TaeJa?
Wait, where is Jaedong's? Oh, Jaedong's army is all rallying to this fight now. So
yeah. There was a lot of mutas on the way.
Yeah, TaeJa trying to land this 4th base. He's got basically no income right now. 9 more mutas in production. He's going to use that to re-establish control of this game. And TaeJa's going to drop a lot of mules at this base.
Yeah. No more mining really left until those mules drop. And from there on out, though, still more Banelings morphing in. Jaedong still actually, very gas-starved during this. Still didn't take those gases down at the bottom right-hand corner. So these Mutalisks,
good Widowmines hits, but not quite enough to clean up those Mutalisks. And yeah, like, how many Ultralisks has Jaedong lost this game? Like 20?
He has lost a lot of
25 Ultralisks? He lost
17.
He lost like almost all of his Mutalisks. Yeah, 55 Mutalisks have died, 100 Banelings.
Jeez.
Just the... And he took a long time. Look at this. Jaedong's 5th base has no gases.
I know, man.
They are just building now.
He's like, oh, I need gas? Oh, okay, I guess I'll have to do that now. It's a bit late, but...
And TaeJa is trying to hold on with this small group of army left, but Jaedong's going to overwhelm him, and we should see GG!
Wait, Jaedong ties up the series 1-1, but it was a hard-fought second game.
Yeah, it was...
Wow.
As soon as that first fight happened, TaeJa was on his back foot for basically the entire game. And that was really just a... He got over-eager. He was macroing well, but without those reinforcements, until you get maxed, it's really very hard to establish a long-term position all the way across the map like that. But there was so much creep spread into the middle of the map that it felt like TaeJa really... That was the only place he could actually be close to a base and not entirely covered by creep.
And you know what's really interesting? Like, there was a point I wanted to make midway during that, and then there was a big fight, and then I was like, I can't talk about it. During the first big fight, where there was actually that drop down to the bottom right-hand corner, TaeJa didn't anticipate there being one Ultralisk there, so he just, like, attacked in and just didn't really pay attention to it. He's like, if I kill this base, I'm in a pretty good spot, actually. It wouldn't be too terrible. But that one Ultralisk, that savior Ultralisk down there saving that base, that was actually quite important during that game.
Yeah, for sure. If he had the available attention, like there was a lot of stuff going on, so he didn't really have the extra attention he needed to micro there. But if he did, and he was able to kill that Ultralisk, the reinforcements to that base take a long time to get there. It's all the way into that, what would be like another player location in the furthest back base. And those, whatever, 10 Marines or so, you can easily kill all the drones, maybe get the hatchery, and perhaps put the game back on even terms, or at least as even as you could hope for after the disaster that was that first engagement. But
I mean, imagine how the economy would have been for Jaedong if that base had died during all of that last bit where TaeJa's trying to hold on. I think the TaeJa could have made an even better meal out of it, but oh well.
Yeah, maybe instead of losing at the 30-minute mark, it could have been like 45 minutes.
Yeah, maybe.
25 minutes of slowly dying.
That's TaeJa man for you. He just refuses to die.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't believe he held on for that long, but there you go. There you go. That's TaeJa. That's TaeJa for you. All right, so game number 3 now is on the way. What map do we have, Mr. QXC?
We are playing on Merry-Go-Round.
All right. I think this could favor TaeJa. If he gets all right spawns and then is able to rally on forwards. It's going to be easier to actually make something happen, I think.
I'm expecting some kind of all-in from JDong.
Yeah?
Feeling that. Yeah, something in my intuition, my gut, making it feel like, you just played a really long macro game. Your opponent's probably spending a lot of time thinking about it. Like, what does TaeJa take away from that game? Like, what does he need to reconsider for the next series to further optimize, to make sure that the game doesn't go the way that one does? And then boom, Roach Bane, or boom, 1-1 speed Roach, that type of thing.
I like it. I think some Bane Roach or something like to that effect would be kind of cool. All right, we'll find out in a bit. We're loading up into the game now. Game number 3 for this best of 5 in the semi-final. I'm so impressed with the lineup of players that we had here at the Intellect Extreme Masters. It's been a really good tournament so far. Even in the group stages when we saw things like Snoot defeating True and things like that. It's so good. All right. So, spawn down to the south, we have our red Zerg tying it up 1-1. Representing Evil Geniuses, it is Jaedong. Killer instinct, but you can't kill off this guy too easily. Up to the top left as our blue Terran representing Team Liquid, it's TaeJa.
All right, so TaeJa's going to be building a supply depot. Jaedong
That was the sickest commentary, man.
is making drones.
Whoa!
SCVs are mining. Yeah, can we get some action shots of that SCV? Maybe, yeah.
He's got it, man.
Oh, I like
got
that.
it.
Oh, wow.
This is getting weird.
This is intense.
Dude, did you ever see that video of Total Biscuit like commentating that supply depot making? That was pretty good.
I think I may have watched that.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was on like Desert Oasis or something. Oh, no, Blistering Sands I think it was on.
Let's not use the those names.
No,
I don't want to remember that.
No, they were some interesting maps.
I don't think anyone wants to remember Blistering Sands or Desert Oasis.
Oh, good times. Good times.
And looks like Jaedong's going to go for hatch first. TaeJa, meanwhile, opening with the 12 barracks, 12 gas Reaper. And with these spawn positions, Jaedong has some good opportunities to expand away from his opponent. He can kind of expand up the right side of the map. And meanwhile, TaeJa is a little, like, normally you want to expand towards the Zerg. With these spawn positions, though, it can be very uncomfortable to actually do that because the base in between them, let's see if Funka knows what I'm talking about. Nope. Yep, that one.
Yeah.
That base. That base can often get creep on top of it where it actually becomes impossible to expand there, depending on how dominant the Terran player is in the game. So often we'll see the Terran player kind of expand north a little bit and then east because of potential creep, and whereas the Zerg player will just be expanding like as far east as he can.
Yeah.
And now the SCV is going out, and this is, again, just confirming where the Zerg player spawned. He's going to use that as a way to, he's going to check the hatchery timing, and I guess he's going to check the pool timing. I don't think he needs to check the pool timing, but maybe if he's choosing to only go one Reaper. Yeah. So what he does basically is he uses the SCV to check the pool and the gas timing, so that the Reaper, when it gets to his base, doesn't have to go into the main, and he doesn't run the risk of Zerglings getting by the Reaper. Because when you go for that one Reaper straight into Reactor, you can have, there's potential for 2 Lings getting to your command center before 2 Lings getting your command center before the Marines finish. And actually, he goes back into the... okay, so everything I said is wrong, apparently. I personally don't understand why you would scout the main with the SCV if you're also planning to scout the main with the Reaper. But whatever. That's what he's doing. He's TaeJa.
I guess you got to put all that pressure on, man.
Yep.
Try and get a drone or two, but it's always very difficult against a player of Jaedong caliber to really get that drone or two. So
yeah,
very difficult.
He's doing a really good job of keeping all Zerglings alive. The Queens are out now. TaeJa's just going to back off into the natural, and basically now he's not really going to try and do much more damage with this one Reaper. Meanwhile, he's going to be transitioning using the Marines to deny some Overlord scouting. We may actually see him go for, fast third command center. So this is going to be the same build that he opened with on King Sejong Station.
You know that middle base that you were talking about, if in between these two players, if for some reason TaeJa was able to actually grab this location and launch assaults from there, I actually don't see how Jaedong could win this game. It's so brutal to actually deal with something like that.
If that could be TaeJa's 4th base and he puts a planetary there, he's basically going to have control of that position until the game ends.
Yeah.
And that's going to give him a very forward, like you said, a very forward position, a very easy place where he can just continuously push back the creep and fall back to a very strong defensive place.
All right, Jaedong for now, just keeping an eye on his opponent's natural and his command sensor.
Big
that's
lings.
A lot of lings.
Yeah, that's a ton of lings. And where is TaeJa's Reaper? TaeJa's Reaper is in a really funny place. Jaedong is actually going to completely circumvent this.
If he doesn't see those.
The Reaper. Oh, look at that. The Star Sense. Oh, not quite Star.
Does not. Well, that gets rounded. He actually gets the first one. There's only one more Hellion left on this field right now. TaeJa has to be very, very careful about how he controls this. Link's actually trying to pincer onto that. He gets the second Hellion as well, and he's in the SCV line. Hellions, absolutely. You cannot die. You cannot die during this. Nice lining up of those Lings for him, and they will fall away.
Jaedong got a little over-eager there, trying to push in up the ramp like that into that very small choke point. And the Lings, the 2 Hellions that came out, were able to clean it up. A little bit of damage there, but only 3 workers lost. Not as much compensation as Jaedong would like, especially since all the majority of the Lings had died. So if he gets 3 SCVs and then the Lings are on the map, you can basically pin the Hellions to TaeJa's base. You can continuously threaten run-bys, things like that. But with so many of them dead, TaeJa can now basically move out with his Hellions. And he leaves a couple Marines at home, 1 Hellion, but it's not as big of a commitment as he might have to otherwise.
All right, so Hellion is now just going to have a little bit of poke around, going over to that third and make sure that is there, confirming that position. And with the stim on the way now, 13 drones on the way as well for Jaedong, so it doesn't look like we're going to get the super aggressive options out of him, sadly. I would have loved to have seen something like that, but...
You mean besides an 8-minute Spire?
Well, that's actually... Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll agree.
So what Jaedong is doing right now, if TaeJa goes for a run-by, he will literally win the game.
Yeah, that's a lot of power behind those, and it's only 10 Lings to really defend. With a few Queens,
Ready
of course.
for this, Killars?
Oh, no. No! No! It shouldn't be this way.
So basically what Jaedong did is he went for a very fast third hatchery, very fast layer, and the expense here, the thing that's not happening is the amount of Zerglings that he wanted, the amount of queens that he needs to really defend this. Oh, wow, so many drones dead. I'm swooning.
Well, I'm under the impression now with 18 drones killed, he says, right, I've killed all your Hellions, it's time to make all those 18 drones back as quickly as possible. That's what I need to do.
Well, he'd love to, except if you look at his money right now, because he was optimizing for this early Spire, he's sitting at about 500 gas, which means either he's not making drones because he doesn't have minerals, or if he makes drones, he's not making mutas because he doesn't have minerals. He's got to choose one thing or the other. He's either got to play a little bit risky and make those, hope that the mutas will do damage, or just make those drones and be like content to have those later mutalisks. Because this Spire went down right around 8 minutes. Now we're sitting at 10 minutes. The Spire takes about, I want to say, 100 seconds. So the Spire has been done for about 30 or 40 seconds. But there's no mutas out at all. They're going to be finishing just about now. TaeJa should be prepared for it. He's got tons of Marines at this point.
Yep, a lot of firepower behind that. TaeJa now just setting himself up that third base. There's 20 Marines going to be able to hold on there, one should think. And then from here on out, Jaedong, what is he going to do? He's just spreading creep in the middle of the map. He's just kind of macroing up himself, adding on those mutalisks. They're looking to get a little bit offensive by the looks of things.
Yeah, and this is... It's really weird right now. The damage, I think...
Okay.
Oh, wow. One mutalisk does go down. Second one almost falls. And
nope.
Yep.
Oh,
see ya.
That's sad.
Wow. Mutalisk not really doing much here. Turret's already up from TaeJa at every single base, so he's really not going to take any damage at all from this. And the biggest disparity in this game is going to be the upgrades. TaeJa's 1-1 is finishing in 10 seconds. Jaedong's 1-1 just started about 30 seconds ago.
I'm a little bit scared for Jaedong in this game. Gotta say, TaeJa right now is playing well. He got damage done early on. He's got his third base solidified. It is now being bunkered up and good to go. And mutalisks keep dying! Every single muta at this point is valuable when he doesn't have the proper ground. I mean, centrifugal hooks started, yeah, eventually that will come out, but now the Marines are already moving into the position to deny a lot of this creep, and there's not really much to contend with that.
And you can see the Queen falling so quickly with that 1-1 upgrade disparity, and now Baneling's trying to move in, but TaeJa's got a lot of options here.
Yep. Picks up, goes to the high ground, gets our way out of there, realizing those mutalisks, then another mutalisk dies.
Yeah, and TaeJa can basically, like, he can relocate his army very easily right now because...
Good
TaeJa,
focus fire.
Yep. Does take down another muta. But Jaedong's mutalisk count is so low right now, he doesn't really have a lot of control over these medevacs. Every time TaeJa drops somewhere, the mutalisks have to fall back. There's not enough to even fight one medevac worth of Marines.
Yeah, it's a bit bad for him. Now the bio is actually rallying forwards pretty aggressively through this location as well. This bio just rendezvousing once again. Centrifugal hooks still not done. Two Widowmice try and burrow themselves, but don't really get a whole lot done during all of that. Drilling claw's not finished, making it hard for them to really do anything during that. And he still chases him all the way back, but there's not enough here to deal with this. Jaedong is just basically sacrificing the majority of his army.
Yeah, I don't think Jaedong is... Perhaps he's not aware of the upgrade disparity there. He took part of that fight when his 1-1 was not done. And TaeJa can just back up now. He waits about a minute, and he'll have 2-2. He'll have a huge upgrade advantage for a very long time. And actually, I'm not sure Jaedong is going to go into 2-2. Maybe his plan here, the reason he's taking this fight off creep, is he's going for a huge 3-base timing. He's going to make as many units as he can and try and finish this game before the upgrades, before the supplies get too much out of reach.
Well, he's going to have to do something soon when it comes to the army supply, when it comes to those 2-2 upgrades about to finish. Even drilling claws is going to help out TaeJa so much during all of this. A slight run by to the left-hand side. This could be a good option for Jaedong to try and do something, but if all of these are not back at home to defend, then he has to do something with them. They have to be doing something. Right now, they're not.
Yep. and it looks like the Speedlings are going to try and go in, but a bunker at the top of the ramp, a bunker at the third, those Speedlings are not going to get damage done. And meanwhile, at Jaedong's fourth base, there is a huge Widow Mine hit on those Banelings.
Very, very good start to these engagements. TaeJa here can easily pick up, go to the high ground. He loses a little bit of his bio on the low ground, but at the same time, still so far ahead in terms of supply. Can still continue rallying forwards. 11 Marines in production at any time, along with the Widow Mines and the extra Marauders for firepower with the 2-2 now finished. This is looking all but done. Jaedong now needs to get a very, very good engagement if this is going to go his way.
Yeah, and Jaedong has actually just started his 2-2 upgrades. TaeJa's 2-2 upgrades were finished probably a minute or two ago. That's going to give him a huge window where he can take these extremely cost-efficient fights. And it looks like TaeJa's going to move in.
All right, very strong army here. All he has to do is spread himself well against not that many Banelings, to be perfectly honest with you, as a lot of them get focus fired down at the front here, splitting against them as well. Not even having to split, just microing back against them. There is not really too much here for Jaedong left at all. 2-2 Marines going to shred through this.
Here's the meat grinder as the Marines continue to just clean house. More Marines streaming across the map. Jaedong forced to cancel a lot of Banelings that were more thin. He's going to try and go for a little bit of a counterattack, but those Marines are just too strong for him.
He's going down, man. The Banelings falling as well that were morphing in. All of them get cancelled. He tries to fall down to an alternate position. Once again, all those Banelings going to end up getting cancelled because there's just too much firepower here for the Terran. Jaedong looks dejected here in game number 3. He knows his time is nigh in this game. And that is a bad position. There you go, GG. Wow.
TaeJa now leads the series 2-1.
Good stuff by TaeJa.
Yep.
Made it look pretty clean cut there in game number 3.
So as a caster, as an observer, watching the game, it's like, okay, Jaedong's build is extremely greedy.
Yeah.
He's going fast 3 base, very fast layer, fast spire. In order to saturate it and really have it all work out the way he wants to, he's cutting Lings really heavily. And I just don't know what triggered TaeJa's decision to do that run by.
Jaedong fighting.
And that was, like, it was absolutely the right thing to do, but man, I wish I knew. Because it didn't seem like he saw anything. Maybe he scanned and I didn't catch it or something like that. It was like exactly the right decision, but there didn't seem to actually be any indication
like
on the map.
Trigger.
Maybe it was Jaedong losing all the Zerglings and he figured he wouldn't have rebuilt them. I'm really not sure.
I mean, that many Zerglings that early on in the game in itself is quite the investment. You know, those could have then been drones, but then again you have to factor in that the fact that those Hellions would have been pressuring a little bit there, so you would have had to make a few Zerglings anyway to try for the defense. So there's a lot of factors that really go into a game like StarCraft. It's kind of intricate. All right, what's our 4th map going to be, Kirksey? As you click on the little button. Everything's in Chinese here, guys, so we're not quite sure. It's Catalina.
Catalina.
Yeah.
I was thinking to what Red Eye was calling this map, and then I realized that I couldn't tell you.
For the longest time when I was playing it, I was just like, octopus, and I didn't even know the name. I was just like, that's really cool in the middle. Yeah, goddamn. All right, Jaedong, he's going to have to play like an octopus with 8 arms if he's going to beat TaeJa. That last game was, again, pretty cut and dry there for TaeJa.
Yeah, it was a really nice build from Jaedong, and I think the intention there was because TaeJa in all the previous games was being very passive with his Hellions. You know, he was just kind of he was keeping them at home mostly. If he moved out, it was just to deny creep, and so Jaedong's like, well, if you're not going to actually attack me with Hellions, I'm gonna go Spire. I'm going to go double Evos, and I'm going to saturate 3 base, and I'm not going to make really any Queens or Lings at all. And TaeJa, for whatever reason, was like, well, all your Lings died, so here we go, YOLO!
Whoa!
Yeah. And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked out fantastically. It put him in such a strong position. There is the octopus in the center of the map.
Brilliant. The best bit of any map we've had in a long time. All right, spawning over to the left-hand side, we have our Red Zerg representing Evil Geniuses. It's Jaedong. There has to be like the echo and then the little Transformers noise.
All right, how about this? I'll echo, then you echo, then I'll echo.
Whoa.
Just try it. All right, go.
All right, spawning up to the north position as our blue Terran, it's TaeJa. TaeJa. That was the fade out. It was brilliant.
That was awesome.
It's lovely.
I loved it. Everything was great. All right, so 12 barracks, 12 gas. We're going to see Reapers out of Liquid TaeJa. Meanwhile, Jaedong going for 15 hatch. And we'll see if it looks like Jaedong's not going to drone scout this game. So perhaps he doesn't really care about that 3 hatch before pool. It's not really something that he would want to do, and I don't blame him. On this map, if we can take a look at the cliff in Jaedong's main, just east of the hatchery, you can see a huge cliff. This is a great map for Reapers. There's an awesome place to jump in. And so 3 hatch before pool, it's really not something that you're likely to see here.
Yeah, so yummy location, that's for sure. As TaeJa now...
Wait, what did you say?
Yummy location.
Yummy, man.
Ah,
that word. Okay.
Absolutely yummy.
Great.
As TaeJa's 2-game, he's at match point basically. He wins 1 more, and then he goes on to the grand final. He's never won an Intel Extreme Masters, and adding another title to his belt is probably quite a nice thing to do before he ends up eventually retiring, which I'm sure some people are kind of sad about. But I think at the end of this year, it's not even an esports retirement in inverted commas, not the Stefano kind of retirement. I think it's actually a retirement coming for
TaeJa.
Yeah.
Is that because of his wrist?
Yeah, I think so, and also military service.
Oh.
So yeah.
Let's see.
Sad times. Sorry, Taryn.
Well, let's try and be a little less sad, please.
Okay.
So we do see pool, hatch gas pool from Jaedong, so he's going to be getting that very fast speed. It'll probably be, it should be like a 550 speed, and that gives Jaedong some opportunities for aggression around that 6-minute timing with Zerglings, but it does make defending the Reaper a little bit more uncomfortable because the pool is a little bit later. He got it after the extractor. That means he's defending this first Reaper with no Zerglings for quite a while here. You can see he's got a Sport Crawler making, an Extractor making, 1 drone does go down, and TaeJa making very good use of this Reaper.
Yeah, very good use. Even if he didn't get the kills, the drones that he's actually having to pull off is a small bit of mining lost during all of this. Second Reaper will join the fray.
So Extractor is, 5 minerals, the Sport Crawler is about 10 or 15 minerals that you lose when you cancel, and then 20, 30 seconds of not mining.
He's going to get
TaeJa actually, one more drone does fall.
Nice.
And Jaedong's going to deflect this, but wait, TaeJa, you got to watch those Reapers. All right, nice.
Juke.
Good juke from TaeJa, and the Reapers do stay up. Another Ling goes down.
That was sick juking right there. That was sick. He might actually get... Oh, no, okay, he's not going to get another drone. Maybe a Zergling or 2, but anything else would be a bit of a catastrophe there for Jaedong early on in this game. 2 drones dying is not something you come to expect from this Reaper pressure.
Yeah, for sure. And we do see now, with the amount of damage that TaeJa has done, the amount of pressure he's put on, he's only down 1 worker, which is quite nice for him.
Yep.
Those 5 Lings are going to get out of the map. If he can catch the Reapers, that's great, but TaeJa is aware of the speed timing, and he sends his Reapers home with plenty of time to spare.
Yep, got to be careful about that. And now, because he has 2 Reapers compared to previous games, with the Hellions, I think he can be a bit more proactive as long as he's stable at home, right? Because he has those 2 Reapers to tank at the front a little bit, pull those back as long as Jaedong's focus fire isn't, exactly on point against Hellions.
Yep. And right now, though, he's basically just sitting at home because he doesn't want to deal with the Ling run by, but at the same time now he's got to move out because there are some potential timing attacks that if he doesn't scout at this moment, he won't be able to really prepare for in time. So he's going to move out, he's going to check for that 3rd hatchery from Jaedong, and if he doesn't see the 3rd hatchery, he'll probably be doing some scouting here. So Reaper Hellion going to poke at the front, denying the creep a little bit. Jaedong now going up to 4 queens and layer in the main. Meanwhile, a little bit of a run by in TaeJa's natural.
Yeah, TaeJa actually left the 2 extra Hellions back there all the while, though, anticipating something like that would occur. Right. So that was nice.
Yep. And that's one of the little touches that makes TaeJa such a great player, is he knows that he doesn't know in terms of where the Lings are on the map, and so he's like, all right, well, there might be Lings here, there might not, but I'm not going to take the chance.
Good control so far from TaeJa, trying to get himself a first queen kill during this, and it should go down during that. So that's a nice pickup, and getting the supply block as well. That Viking getting 1 overlord kill, missed 1 over on the right-hand side, as Funker pointed out just a little bit before. But as things go on, Jaedong with the supply block, that's a bit of a hindrance. Bit of a hindrance indeed.
Yeah, that's going to definitely affect his development here, but the layer is coming down. Sport Crawler being made, 2 Sport Crawlers down, so he's got an idea of the Banshee. And I'm not really sure. Okay, Spire goes down. So now we know what Jaedong's plan is here. He's going to use those Lings and Queens just to be safe.
Didn't even have to drop a scan. He gets in there with the Reapers, has a look around, sees the layer. These do die in the end.
Yeah, he may choose to scan the natural, though, because even though he saw the layer, he didn't see any tech.
Okay, yeah.
And so, as unlikely as it would be, let's say for like a Nidus Worm play or some kind of weird like Roach play, something like that, sometimes players will still confirm. They're like, all right, I saw the layer. I didn't see any Roaches, but let's just be 100% sure.
Yeah.
Looks like TaeJa, with the number of Speedlings he's seen on the map, he's like, all right, this is Mutas. I don't need to scan you. Nobody makes that many Zerglings and has a layer and isn't going Mutas.
Yeah, anything else would be a bit strange. This Banshee just sat on the outer rim of that third base as well. Queens actually already positioning themselves, getting ready to try and gun that down.
Yep,
and
if TaeJa gets a read on that when the game tells him it's under attack, he's going to pull the Banshee away. And I'm not really sure what that Banshee's going to do in this game. I think it's just mostly hanging out, getting some information. The Hellions, meanwhile, are at home, just kind of deflecting any little bit of Hellion run-bys, and TaeJa is going to take this very slow. He's going to take his third base, look at all the turrets he's putting up. He's just going to make sure that he's macroing as well as possible, because if he doesn't take damage from this Mutalisk play, he's going to be so far ahead.
Yeah, especially since the third was so late for Jaedong, right? I mean, it's not mining, really. He's just starting now. It's only just finished, compared to TaeJa that has also just positioned his command center. He's now transferring over there and getting mining himself. So it's a little bit scary, because the way in which TaeJa is also expanding, once again, it's in a very aggressive towards his opponent position where he can start launching attacks from.
Right now, TaeJa's upgrades about a full minute ahead of his opponent. That's going to give him great opportunities, not only to hit that 1-1 timing, but also the 2-2 timing. His 3-3 will be that just that much earlier. And with all these turrets, these Mutalisks are really not going to do any damage at all.
Yeah, he covered himself well. Covers all of his tech labs and reactors on barracks, etc. Oh, a little bit of a run-by, which is quite nice. The Marines pop out of the bunker very fast, though, to be able to deal with that. And these Lings, for now, are just going to have a little bit of a look around. Do not go up the ramp, because they know that they've always been blocked off regardless.
Yep. And it looks like TaeJa is getting ready to start posturing on the map. He's not really going to want to take a fight this early. He still doesn't have... Well, Combat Shields is just about to finish, but he really wants to get rid of some of this creep before he pushes out.
Is this about the 2-2 timing again, do you think? Is this all going to be revolving around that?
I think he's got an opportunity for a timing before that, but it'll depend on how many units Jaedong is making, because if Jaedong's playing for a fourth, it looks like an engagement's coming up.
Gonna have to pick up on it there. That's a bit too much for him to really deal with at this point. Just needs to rally on forwards with the rest of his units, and he should be fine. Hellion's actually gonna go trying for a run-by somewhere else, though. Sneaky little guy.
I think this is actually to check for the fourth.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, that's a good point, actually.
And what he can do here is he can make them, if there was a fourth here, he can make them into Hellbats and draw a big chunk of Jaedong's army away. And meanwhile, he can split push on the other side of the map. Ooh, split push. But is that a word that people use in this game?
Yeah, you can do that, I suppose. I know what you mean, but yeah, we can do that.
I was just thinking, I was like, I think that's a term in a different game. But anyway,
a term.
Doesn't matter. The Hellions are going to get pushed back here, and we do see the Mutalisks moving around the map, checking for those Hellions, just trying to... Both players are really vying for position right now. Jaedong's trying to get the pressure off of his creep so he can continue to spread that out. And meanwhile, TaeJa is basically just deflecting the Mutalisks. He's got to send some units over to get the creep denied, but I think you were right. It's going to all converge on this 2-2 timing.
I mean, it's got to feel good as TaeJa here, going over there with the Hellions, seeing no fourth base and being like, all right, my macro is actually just flying away now. This 2-2 timing is going to be very difficult for you to deal with if you are not very keen about your control.
Yep. Absolutely. And TaeJa is now pushing on a creep. Some Banelings do go down.
Oh,
a bit of a blunder there, but Jaedong is going to deflect this attack using his Mutalisk in TaeJa's natural, and this is completely unseen here, but he does have a lot of Marines back at home.
Yeah, he's just going to rally out the reinforcements to really deal with that, whilst he actually pushes towards the third base even, I should say. Because if he can actually deal with that, if he can kill that off during this push, then, oh my geez, Jaedong is going to be in trouble.
Yeah, Jaedong, those Banelings are, they need a chaperone. Banelings aren't really they're like little kids. You don't want to send them out on their own. Bad things will happen to them. They need some Speedlings, they need some Mutalisk to soak those hits and kind of force the units that they're trying to get to stay in position.
Yeah, those Banelings need to learn the green cross code.
This is not good. This is not good for Jaedong.
Oh.
Mutalisk taking a lot of damage from those Widow Mines.
Yeah. Really doesn't want to be losing anything here, especially since TaeJa once again is going to be maxing out pretty soon. It's a little bit supply blocked at this point, but he could even just drop supply drops on that if he wanted to get himself even further here. Widowmine's going to try and burrow against all of this. Will they actually connect with the Banelings? No, they don't fire at the top there, so don't really do a whole lot, but 3 more Widowmines able to try and hold on at this position. A lot of Marines just stimming back once again. This is where 2-2 is finished against 2-2 that is not done here for Jaedong, as he is deflected in that push. But 2-2 finished during that for Jaedong at least.
If Jaedong had just waited another 10 or 15 or 20 seconds, that would have been great for him to have those upgrades done. But TaeJa was really...
Oh, losing some Mutalisks as well in the middle. This is looking really bad for Jaedong right now.
Yeah, the supplies are so in favor of TaeJa at the moment. Jaedong does not have any drones at his 4th, and it looks like the battle is coming to a head. No, Jaedong's going to back up for now.
What do you do to stop TaeJa? He just keeps on plowing forwards. He just keeps on going. Very rarely loses. Even beating Zest in the quarterfinals. Banelings die off once again. And Jaedong, the Tyrant, right now is facing elimination from this tournament. TaeJa now placing himself on creep, being very assertive about his positioning. He knows he's in a comfort zone right now. This is great for him.
Yeah, TaeJa has eliminated so many of... And Jaedong's going for the counterattack, but he's going to get stopped by TaeJa, who's keeping a good eye on the map. Now TaeJa's denied Jaedong's 4th, and it looks like TaeJa is forcing the battle right here, right now.
Yeah, Jaedong's constricted. He has to do something about it, but I don't think he's going to be able to do enough. The Banelings end up falling, and that 4 will go down, but that's a small victory for Jaedong, as TaeJa is going to look to win the overall war. Now pushing towards that 3rd base. 4th base, meanwhile, during all of that, did end up dying off. Those Widow Mines in the middle also doing some damage as well. They go uncontested. The 3rd base falls. TaeJa right now is looking at a grand final here at this tournament, and Jaedong has very, very little left. One final push to try and push him away, but it's not going to be enough, as the power of Terran will actually push on forwards. This is great for TaeJa.
Yeah, Jaedong is basically on his last leg here. GG! TaeJa takes game number 4, taking the series 3-1, moving on to the grand finals, the Intel Extreme Masters Shenzhen.
How do you stop TaeJa? Zest wasn't able to defeat him. Jaedong wasn't able to defeat him. How are Solar or Jim going to be able to defeat this guy in the finals? This guy...
Well, I mean, Jim beat TaeJa earlier.
Oh yeah, he kind of did, didn't he?
Yeah, in this tournament. He 2-0'd him.
Imagine if that happens again. Jeez.
That's why TaeJa was 2nd place in his group.
That's a really good point. Thanks, QFC. I wasn't here.
you were flying, weren't you?
Look, I'm trying to be epic, man. All right, Jaedong, he looks pretty sad at this point. And, you know, one can only imagine. If you go up against a guy like TaeJa and you are just constantly rallied against like that, with the absolute ferocity that TaeJa shows and exudes from his gameplay, I don't want to play against TaeJa, man. That's scary.
Yeah, TaeJa played very solid games. He always seemed to have a good read on what his opponent was doing. I'm not sure why Jaedong favored that fast Spire multiple games, because after the first game it seemed like it just wasn't going to work for whatever reason. Like TaeJa was ready for this. Maybe it was time to try something different. There we go. But he did try and do it once again, and TaeJa just had such a good read, knew exactly what to do, built those turrets in time, put his units in the right position, and just put himself in such a dominant position for the mid and late game with those upgrades, with that stronger economy, with that bigger army.
Yeah, very, very good stuff. And now, obviously, we guarantee ourselves TaeJa in the final. Our Terran representative looking strong. And with further ado, let's head it over to Paul and the boys.
Back with Sean and Moonglade.
You are so loud,
initial
and I am so loud that I couldn't hear production.
What do you think overall? I mean, Moonglade said 3-1 TaeJa. Just want to point that out.
I did say that, didn't I?
Okay.
Oh, well.
He did.
Yeah. We'll give him that one.
Yeah, you know, I was feeling pretty confident about it, seeing how TaeJa was playing and how Jaedong was playing. And, I mean, TaeJa just read those games so well. As QXC was saying, you know, he knew exactly what he was going to do, and he went to the mid to the late game and just is exactly where TaeJa wanted to be, and completely controlled Jaedong. And I mean, even in that last game, Jaedong was looking pretty tilted by that point. He making a lot of mistakes, losing drones to one Reaper in a standard Reaper opening and multiple Overlords.
Yeah. There was a small chink in TaeJa armor. Jaedong found it, managed to equalise things back up, but he took a long time to get it done as well. There was that second game, it was like, me and Moon were sitting there thinking, oh, well, this is done. And then 15 minutes later, he finally got the game. It seemed like he was playing maybe a little bit too passive. Or maybe TaeJa was able to just hang on each time. What was it? It was,
the economy was running out for Jaedong, and he was just like, I gotta win this, and he just threw everything into it. But TaeJa somehow just kept on defending and defending and defending, and then the game slowed down because Jaedong put so much effort into finishing the game that he didn't think about his own income. And then that started to dry out, and then it became a closer game despite Jaedong leading throughout all of it. But I mean, as a professional player, I'm pretty sure you can agree that that type of win is the most painful type of win because it took 50 minutes to kill somebody who's already dead.
And it shouldn't have happened that way. I feel like a lot of it came down to simply the control of Jaedong's army. He'd attack and he'd be doing something else, and we'd see Ultras over here fighting like a pack of Marines and a Marauder, up here, over there with a Planetary, and like nothing was getting done in anything. No objectives were done. You traded armies kind of cost inefficiently. And it dragged out because of that, which is so frustrating and could have tilted him for the other games.
I was going to ask exactly that because TaeJa, unlike some other players, not every player, but some other players, didn't give up. I mean, most people, when they saw their supply plummeting at that point and just looked at what he had, just went, oh, all right, you know what, GG, let's move on to the next map. He won't do that. He'll keep you going. You've got to earn the win against him. Otherwise, you're not going to get it easy. And it did seem like he kind of tortured Jaedong for a little bit in there and just said, okay, you want to win? I'm going to make it as hard as I possibly can, and you're going to have to earn this win. And if it costs me 30 minutes, I don't care.
Right.
But then map 3 and 4, he's already in his head a little bit thinking. I mean, Jaedong at the end of that map too had his head down, was like, and he won the map. And I was thinking, he looks like a guy that's just lost 3-0.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing with StarCraft. I mean, you can look at StarCraft on a basic level and understand the game and what's going on, but there's so many small things that, the mind games that are played in. If you win a mind game and you don't really notice that mind game, the players notice it, and that's like a win, a moral win over the other player. And these type of things really do affect the mindset going into the future games. And Jaedong made a lot of mistakes the longer this series went on, and it definitely seemed to affect him.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't quite the classic we hoped it would be, but it's become, in the last 2 years, a bit of a rivalry. I mean, Jaedong won all 4 matches they played last year, despite the fact that TaeJa won more tournaments than Jaedong did. This year, it's 3-0 now to TaeJa. He's absolutely dominant. Is it becoming one of those, legendary rivalries that we've looked at in previous years?
I think we need Jaedong to win a series again, and then it might start to become more of a rivalry, because right now it's all TaeJa.
Yeah, that's true. Overall thoughts on TaeJa's performance? I mean, he lost in the group stages to Jim, which I don't want to tempt fate here, but he could end up meeting in the fight.
Well, I think it's going to be very hard for Jim to beat Solar, and that's the one thing that's going for TaeJa, I think. I mean, TaeJa's TVZ looking so strong, so Solar's got his work cut out for him. Even though Solar 3-0'd Innovation yesterday, TaeJa is like a whole other beast. He's a different player.
Well, what is it about him, Sean, that when it gets to these tournaments, he can struggle sometimes, or he can demolish? I mean, DreamHack, he was 17-0 when he went through DreamHack. This time around, he's lost in the group stages. He's dropped a couple of maps here and there. He's played some good players, no doubt about it, but he's done that before. Somehow, though, unlike Jaedong, for instance, who seems to reach semis and finals all the time, TaeJa is able to win tournament after tournament. Why?
TaeJa, the only reason he loses is because he gets bored. If you watch this series against Jim, he was going gas first builds, and he's messing around, he's doing all these things, and he loses. StarCraft's too easy for TaeJa. He gets bored, and then he starts doing silly things, but when he's really on it, he is the best. He's so robotic when he's on form. We talk about Innovation as a robotic Terran player. He always does the same thing over and over and over. TaeJa's quality when he's on form, it doesn't drop. If the other player makes mistakes, the game's over. TaeJa will always perform at a very high level and will always deliver when he needs to. He never gets nervous. Nothing affects him.
It's difficult sometimes in all sports, actually, as well as StarCraft 2, to kind of appreciate the quality that we have when we have it. It's only later on when you look back 3 or 4 years and you just go, God, that guy was bloody amazing. MVP, he was awesome in Wings of Liberty. It takes time. Are we experiencing right now possibly the best player of StarCraft 2?
If he wins this tournament, I mean, this tournament is so incredibly stacked. TaeJa keeps on performing. He's got, what, 2 tournaments already won in the last 6 months. He's looking at a 3rd right now. He wants to win BlizzCon, and he's on a monster roll. He wants to win everything on his way to BlizzCon and then win it at the end of that. If he's on the way to being the best player right now. He's actually on the way to being MVP from what we saw in Wings of Liberty.
Because we haven't, I mean, we've had flashes of, pardon the pun, we've had flashes of moments here and there over the last couple of years, but we haven't seen anyone dominate. We saw Innovation come in at the early part of Heart of the Swarm.
Yeah.
Looked like he was going to be the man last year, and then kind of tailed off. We saw Deer come in Season 3, and we were like, holy Moses, this guy's the real deal. Hasn't happened for him since. We've seen San at the start of the year look like he could really come to Europe and dominate. Hasn't happened for him. We saw MC bounce back and win a tournament. But no one has really, over the last 2 years, had the kind of domination MVP had back in Wings of Liberty. We're still waiting for it.
But, I mean,
TaeJa's the closest we've got.
I really think he is. If you think about all the other players out there, they shoot up, then drop down fast. As you said, Dio was that guy. Zest seemed to have been that guy at this tournament.
Yep.
But TaeJa went 17-0 at DreamHack, domination. And then just a month or so later, he's here at the Intel Extreme Masters, and he's in another final. Like, he keeps on winning.
Yep, it's all about consistency to kind of represent the best player, and TaeJa's definitely on that road. If he wins this tournament, goes to BlizzCon, does well there, you know, I wouldn't be too far off to say he is the best player of StarCraft.
Off the back of Terran being underbalanced.
Yeah.
Keep that quiet. Keep that between the rest of us. Right, thank you very much, gents. We're going to take a very quick break here at the couch. When we come back, though, and it will be a very quick break, we will be with the winner and the new finalist of the Intel Extreme Masters, Shenzhen. It will be TaeJa.
Shenzhen. Oh. All right, I'm fucking moving.
Exactly what we've done. We're back with the winner, Liquid TaeJa. Congratulations, TaeJa.
Thank you.
Another win. Are you as bored with StarCraft as Apollo says? Are you? Is it boring? Playing, winning all the time?
계속 이겨서 지루하지 않아 게임?
It's fun. It's fun. Oh, that's okay. He's also got the victory ears, which they've become. Only winners seem to wear ears here. So TaeJa has the ears on. They're very pretty.
Thank you.
Very nice. Yeah, okay. So talk me through the match. 3-1 against JDong. You've won 3 in a row now against JDong. But last year, you couldn't beat JDong. Why? What's the difference? Are you a better player now? Is he worse?
I don't know. Just I think I have so lucky, so I win 3 in a row.
Okay.
I
You think
don't know.
that's lucky?
Wait, I don't know if it's lucky
I don't
because
think so
all right.
either.
So Home Story Cup, you beat Jaedong in the round of 4,
Yep.
and then we had DreamHack in the round of 4, and now you have IEM again in the round of 4, and that just doesn't seem like luck to me. What's your secret?
When I beat Jaedong, Home Story Cup and DreamHack, I use Helvet build. That was Imba. Yeah. So that just Terran Imba, but now I just lucky.
Really? You think it was more luck today?
Yes.
There was a very long game you had, game 2, and you didn't give up. Were you trying to get in his mind?
Never give up.
Never give up. Okay. So you just wanted to keep carrying on until he had to win.
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's interesting. we wondered whether that would maybe some mind games from you on Jaedong, because he seemed a bit broken after that.
그거 다음에 멘탈이 좀 깨진 것 같은데 그렇게 하려고 한 거였는지.
제동 형이요?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was his
okay.
intent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good. And another final. You've never won Intel Extreme Masters before. So this is the one you want, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, Jim, you lost to, or Solar. So you want Solar to win, right?
누구랑 붙고 싶어?
I don't care. Both player are so good, so I don't care.
Really?
Yes.
What about Jim though? Because Jim will have like the crowd.
Jim,
Everyone will be cheering. Jim, 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 Jim.
여기 중국이니까.
Jim is Jimba.
He's Jimba. I love it. We have a TaeJa moment there. He's Jimba. I like that a lot. How has China been for you? How's it been coming to China?
Second time.
Second time? Okay.
이번엔 어땠어?
Too hot.
Okay, yeah, it is too hot. What about the food we had last night when we went out?
All right, for what you guys don't know.
No comment.
Yeah, no, I had no comment either.
Last night we went out to a very traditional Chinese dinner, and
Very traditional.
very traditional. And the very first dish that came out was the pigeon head.
Yeah.
뭐야? 첫 번째 나온 거 보고 무슨 생각했어?
Horrible.
Horrible.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, TaeJa. I didn't eat it either. Apollo did.
Oh,
Apollo is Imba.
yeah.
But he's not
Yeah.
Jimba.
No, he's not Jimba.
No,
Just Imba.
just Imba.
Yeah. Okay. You got any final thoughts on your win or anything that you've done here at the Intel Extreme Master? Anything you wanna talk about?
지금까지 이제
This tournament, my second IEM tournament, so I want champion.
Okay.
I want to be a champion. Yes.
You've got one more match to win. That's it.
Yeah.
And you will be an Intel Extreme Masters champion. You seem to want to win everything this year. Every single tournament.
Not WCS
But not Why? Why do you not win WCS?
because hard.
It's America.
What's that
Hard.
supposed to mean?
Well, it's easy. Polt's won it twice. Should be easy for you, right?
Maybe
Next season?
next season.
Okay,
Maybe.
all right. But hopefully
right.
we'll see you at BlizzCon. And you'll do well at BlizzCon, because I know how much that means to you. You really want to win BlizzCon this year. The most important thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe my last tournament.
Really? Okay. Are you going military at the end of the year?
Yes.
Yeah? For sure?
Yeah.
Okay. We better enjoy him while he's still around, ladies and gentlemen, because TaeJa is only going to be here for the next 6 months or so, and he's well on his way to yet another title. Is he going down in history as the biggest legend in StarCraft 2? We'll find out a little bit later on. First of all, though, we have a break, and then our second semi-final. The home favourite, Jim, goes up against the Kesper Pro Solo. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic second semi-final. We'll find out who goes through to play this man in the grand final.